try someplace new. Double your money and support local restaurants and businesses today at saltcitydeals.com. That's saltcitydeals.com.
WTLA North Syracuse, WSGO Oswego, W249BC Mattydale, W261AC Oswego, WTKWHD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio.
Fran Brown this, Fran Brown that.
If you want me to take a lie detector, Brian, I'll take it.
Portal watch this, Portal watch that.
The dog Mama Duke. People say I like that dog.
What are you talking about playing walk-on? Who do you think walked onto the team?
Anybody that thinks this is going to come back is either naive or plain stupid.
All across CNY.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
It's the 315.
Hardy faking, feeds the Grace Jameson. Got it!
He scores! Woo!
Here's Brian Higgins.
Game day. Here on a Tuesday, welcome in Syracuse basketball. Where have you been? 8 days since the opener. Back on the court tonight against suddenly hated local rival Colgate. The last few years in this series somehow crammed more interesting things than the previous 60. So, oh my goodness, what can we potentially expect tonight inside the Dome? We'll lead you up from now until tip-off as we get our way toward Cuse and Colgate here tonight as the Orange and the Raiders will tip it off at 7. We got 2 hours with you now. Then... yeah, we'll still just be here because pregame starts at 6. So we'll take you all the way running it up to the game tonight and then return right here after the ball game, 9-ish. Little post-game, full red post-game press conference, your calls, all that jazz here. Pre-post, this show, the whole thing. We got you covered tip to tail here tonight. But welcome in here, the Cuse in Utica, Rome. What's up, Rome? How we doing, Rome, on this Tuesday? No, not everybody was with us yesterday, Monday holiday, so some of you joining in. We talked a lot of football on the program yesterday. We'll get at least a little dash of the football today. It is Tuesday. That means Kyle McCord will join us coming up in around about 1/2 an hour from now here today. Always good to chat with Kyle if you happen to miss the Kyle McCord Show. Home stretch here, the Kyle McCord Show. Only 2 more officially scheduled ones after this morning. If you missed it, check it out in full on the Q Sports Talk YouTube page. He'll be back with us next Tuesday at 11 post-Cal and pre-UConn. And it'll be with me here coming up in just a little bit on the program today. Second hour, we'll preview the Raiders a little bit with the guy that does most of their play-by-play on ESPN Plus. He's Eric Malinowski. Called their games for many years on the radio as well. Always good to chat with our guy Eric from down in Hamilton. He'll join us coming up in hour number 2 in the program today. And throughout all that time, if you want your thoughts on the game tonight, on whatever, football, we can always talk football, basketball, importance of the game, recent history, Syracuse and Colgate. Should we panic? Any of that? 315-437-7644. That is a 4 ESPN 44. Are we panicking? At like 7:28, will we be panicking tonight? I don't know. Panicking's in play. Panicking is 100% in play for the Syracuse basketball fan base tonight. Full-on, full-blown, absolute panic is absolutely on the table tonight. Oh, it's good to have Syracuse basketball back. Just to work, just complete panic meltdown into our lives. Hopefully not, but based on how this Syracuse-Colgate game has gone of late, it's 100%. 100% in play. All right, let's get it going.
We start with a Burdick BMW opening drive.
Now, does this count as breaking news if it broke like 4.5 hours ago? Does it? It's yes. It's Chance Westry Day. He might play. Chance Westry, as first reported by Mike Waters in the later hours of this very morning, will be dressed and presumed available for Syracuse basketball tonight. More updates as events warrant. Events will warrant when the game starts and, if he plays or not. Chance Westry, maybe, potentially, we might actually see him on the basketball court tonight. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not counting on it. We'll see. Wish you the best for Chance. Would be nice to see him play. That said, Colgate, which should be an easier landing spot, but has not been an easy landing spot recently. Now, has it? Colgate the last 3 years has been, rather tricky. Rather tricky for Syracuse basketball, has it not? And you'd hope, in theory, for Syracuse, it would not come down to one player we've never actually seen play before to make the difference in a game against a team from an hour down the road, who's probably just a wee bit rusty from the old competitive basketball that he last played a college game closing on 2 years ago. But, good news? We'll see on Chance. More pressing tonight. Chance has been pressing for a long time. More pressing tonight is the Syracuse-Colgate game. More pressing tonight is the Syracuse-Colgate game because there's been more drama or angst or whatever in the last 3 years of this annual series than there had been in the previous 60. And that Syracuse had gone darn near 60 years without losing a game in this series. And the last 3 years, things have gone haywire, upside down, and backwards all at once. 2021 in the Dome. Final score, Colgate 100, Syracuse 85. That was kind of a slap in the face, wake up, what in the wide, wide world of sports just happened here moment in Syracuse basketball history. Colgate that day, 18 of 43 beyond the arc. Put up 100. The next year, as if to remind us all that a fluke it was not, final score in the Dome at right around this time of 2022. Colgate 80 and Syracuse 68. And if to prove that the 18 threes the year prior hadn't been some sort of out of left field situation, Colgate made 19 of them in 2022, going 19 of 39 beyond the arc. Last year, right around this same point of the season, 2023, at, early second half, Syracuse was down by 24, and it looked like it was going to be even worse than either of the two previous years. Colgate was not just crushing from three last year. They hit just 9, but they were up by 24 until Syracuse staged a madcap, miraculous second-half rally fronted by Chris Bell shooting at others and came back to win 79-75. It has been a wild and woolly 3 years in this series, which for literally decades upon decades upon decades upon decades upon decades upon decades, I think I said it 6 times, was just a check mark on the schedule more often than not. Hey, they're down the road. Yeah, of course we should play them every year. Syracuse is going to win the game. It's a good tune-up situation. Everybody's happy. Good local thing. Move on with lives. And that's the way it was for a significant majority of a 6-decade period. And now the last 3 years are upon us where that has no longer been the case. Which leads us to tonight. After Syracuse took on Lemoyne, which in many ways, now that Colgate has risen to being a annual NCAA tournament team, they have been in the tournament now 5 of the last 6 years. Have not won yet, though they've threatened a few times. In fact, most of the players that featured on the last few teams are gone, though Colgate's roster is built in the ways of college teams of old, in which freshmen become sophomores, juniors, seniors, and playing time increases throughout your career. I know. We used to watch this all the time. No longer the case. Colgate, in fact, still does that. Their starters are all returners. Their only one of them is a returning starter from last year. Crazy in this era of the transfer portal. Lemoyne 8 days ago. Probably, you would have figured, would have fit the role of a Colgate-ish team on the schedule from 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years ago. Lower-level team, might be good in their own league, but bug meat windshield. The Bug lost, but the windshield was not present last Monday. Syracuse won, but trailed most of the night, and then came back and won only by a couple of possessions last Monday, which brings us here to tonight with what is the baseline for success for Syracuse tonight? In a game that was easy for 60 years and has been incredibly difficult for 3. In a season in which you've struggled against the other local team that you've played thus far, Cornell will be coming up in a couple weeks' time to make 3. You've struggled with Lemoyne. You've struggled recently with Colgate. Is a win enough? Is just simply winning the game tonight enough? Now, last year it was because of the way you won it, right? It both was and wasn't at the same time. It was because you won a game in which you trailed by 24. It was, I think it was the second largest comeback in the history of an ACC team. So it was rather significant. But at the same time, now it didn't come down to it, but when you got to the bubble and bubble talk and all that, you beat Colgate just by 4. Yes, they were a tournament team, but not impressive when you just look at the final margin of victory. So it's of twofold here tonight. But realistically, right now, what do we want to see from Syracuse basketball tonight? A win, for sure. Like, gotta win the game, right? Have to win the game. Like, if you're Syracuse, you can't lose this game. Colgate, well, a fantastic program. Matt Langle's done a beautiful job. Matt was on Orange Nation earlier today. We'll listen back to some of that coming up on our pregame show in a couple hours. I mean, what a job Matt Langle has done. It's, in fact, surprising in many ways. He's still at Colgate and hasn't gotten a call to a higher level of college basketball as of yet. Though, nothing wrong with a Colgate, right? Making a nice little paycheck, goes to the tournament every year. Things have been worse for others. Is it enough to win this game by 5, by 7, by 9, by whatever? Is it enough to just win tonight? Because, man, the last 3 years, 2 out of the last 3 years, they wish they had just won. They got smacked around pretty good in 2 of the last 3 years by Colgate teams. I'd say I'm of 2 goals tonight for Syracuse. Goal 1, win the basketball game. There's goal 1. Goal 2, look better as a team than you did last Monday. Whatever margin that equals, I can mentally come together with tonight. Win the game, look better than last time. And, that's going to be a you-know-it when you see it situation tonight. Because, Syracuse won last Monday, but it was not a confidence-inspiring win. Colgate's better than Lemoyne. Without knowing much about anything, just because they have been. Just because that's the way it is. You'll know it when you see it, but can Syracuse just look better tonight than last Monday and show me that a step has been made here, game 1 to game 2. Remember back at the beginning of last year, game 1, game 2, game 3, 3 games that were all tighter than you would have liked, but 3-0, and Syracuse shipped off to Hawaii. Remember those games last year? Syracuse post-game 3 felt kind of just like Syracuse post-game 1. Like steps had not been made from game 1 to game 2 to game 3 to plane ride to Hawaii to getting smacked around a couple times by Tennessee and Gonzaga. It didn't feel like steps had been made 1, 2, 3. I'm willing to admit, hey, this Colgate game is tricky. It just is. Should it be? That's a different question. But it is. It is a tricky game right now, and it has been for the last 3 years, and there's no reason to think that has magically changed tonight. Can you win the game? Can you look better? Can you eye test it? Hey, net rankings. No, tonight's about the eye test. I need to see them look better than last week. I don't care what that means about later in the season. Tonight is about the eye test. I need to see this basketball team look better than they did a week ago. So us, all of us can feel better about life heading to the future of Syracuse basketball of Youngstown State on Saturday and then heading down to New York City for Texas and others coming up next Thursday. Can they look better tonight than last Monday? I think that is question number 1. After a win, if you don't win the game, I don't care how good you look tonight. If you lose to Colgate tonight, all bets are off. But can you win the game tonight? Can you look better than last week? And then we can reevaluate going forward. And that is our Burdick BMW opening drive of the day. All right, let's see how the markets opened up here today after the holiday off yesterday for the long weekend. We'll bring in our guy Bill from Lee Baldwin. All right, Bill, how'd this short week start for you guys?
We had our first real down day since the election last week. The Dow fell 382 points, but don't worry, it is still up 5% in the last week, so a tremendous rally in the last 6 business days. Still plenty of diamonds today. We're going to go with Tyson Foods. The chicken company had better than expected earnings and had a really bullish forecast for next year on chicken profitability. I think they're going to have their best Super Bowl chicken wing day ever, so we'll have to wait and see for that one in February. And then on the downside, a lot of stocks just taking profits after a big run. Alibaba and JD.com, 2 Chinese stocks, fell pretty hard today as President Trump named Senator Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State, who might be hawkish and tough on China, so we'll see how that plays out. And I think Lee's already at the Dome ready for the game tonight, so he's excited.
Okay, yes. This is the Lee Baldwin Super Bowl tonight of Syracuse and Colgate. So
good point.
I think we'll know based on the results of tonight if I'm talking to you, Bill, tomorrow, or if Lee's on the line. We'll see how that goes. All right, Bill. Thank you as always. There he is, Bill from Lee Baldwin with all the diamonds and none of the dogs. I know this: if Colgate wins tonight, we're talking to Lee tomorrow. Like this is Lee's a Colgate guy, a Syracuse area guy. This is the Lee Baldwin Super Bowl game tonight in the Dome. That is for sure. Check him out, of course. LeeBaldwin.com for all of the diamonds and none of the dogs. With that, we'll take a break. Phone lines available when we come back. If you want to talk about some hoops, get ready for tonight, football, whatever's on your brain, give a ring. 315-437-7644. We're about 15-ish minutes out. We'll check in on our weekly visit with our guy, Kyle McCord, the starting quarterback for the Syracuse Orange. All that and more as we roll along on this game day on this Tuesday. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Let's go.
Profit taking. I want to do some profit taking. Where do I take the profits? I'm doing some profit taking today. What's up, chat? How are we? Fire up the YouTube. What's going on the YouTube? Tuesday's cooking, Kev. We're going. What's up, YouTube? What are people doing for the game tonight? Who's going? What do we got cooking? Oh, God. I've clicked too many things. Am I Team Paulie or I'm Team Steve? I think I'm more Team Steve than Team Paulie. We got 2 tickets? We got 2 tickets. Okay. We'll yell about that when we come back. Ah! Butler. I have just found out we have 2 more tickets available for tonight's game. We will give them away shortly. There's still time, San Diego Q's. That is a poor attitude. Bowling ball's there, Gavendo's there, Sports Boy is there. Kevin is scalloping some potatoes and having some acorn squash. T. Murphy's on the extra tonight. Mike is pointing at me aggressively pointing. And he finger gunned. I don't know if I liked any of that. Yeah, I think I think the answer is somewhere in the middle, but you have to win the game tonight. You've lost 2 of the last 3 to Colgate. You have to win the freaking game. And just look better. If you win the game and look better and it happens to be an 8-point game, I'm fine. Like, if Colgate plays really well, which they seem to normally do in the Dome, and you play well and win the game and it's a good game, okay. Like, it's possible you could win by 15 and it's just a gross game. Like, you could win by 15 and I could be like, oh, no. I just need to see them play better before I worry about the rest of it. So, yeah, I think I'm actually a little more Team Steve than Team Paulie on this one. Though it was an electric amount of yelling. Whoo, my. Spaghetti meatballs. We're going to go to T. Murphy's house. Yeah, I get what the computers were like. I'm just like, I get that that's probably going to be important 3-4 months from now. But tonight, I don't care about it. I may care about it retroactively later. But I need to see basketball that looked better than last Monday. Yeah, I'd like to see him win by 30. I don't think that's likely. There was a lot of yelling going on today, guys. I don't know what. I mean, we almost had to come in and call a little timeout, little retreat to your neutral corners. ACC Network Extra, Dom, or ESPN Plus tonight.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Here we are. Game day. What does the actual day of the week matter if it's game day? We got like a super sized, extra large, double XL, triple XL game day coming up on Saturday where all the games happen all in a row, all in one day. Well, potentially with a Cayenne Anthony is committed to Syracuse, lead-in from the night before, which could lead to, like, emergency extra programming on Saturday morning. Like, we might need to really break it down Saturday morning, just like in emergency fashion. Just be like an hour of radio is not enough. We need more. We might just have an emergency pre-game show, Q Sports Talk, Cayenne Anthony party on Saturday morning. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't like to plan a party that we're not certain that there's going to be invites for. So that's why it'll be an emergency situation Saturday morning. Maybe. I don't know. That'll be something like, say tonight doesn't go well. That'll be like a mouthwash on Friday night to at least freshen our breaths a little bit. Oh, thank God, Cayenne. So let's not forget that's this week. We got the Youngstown State game, one on Saturday, leading right into the Cal football game. Justin Allegri, the voice of the Cal Bears, will join us tomorrow on the show to talk a little football. I think Justin's this is the time of year it is. This is everybody, every place, all at once time of year. I think Justin's actually joining us from Nashville because Cal basketball is playing Vanderbilt tomorrow night. Because, why wouldn't you schedule that game in the first year you're in a conference that's going to lead to you flying all over hell and gone the whole entire season? That makes a lot of sense. But we'll talk that tomorrow with Justin. So tonight, the Chance Westries thing. Will we see him tonight? I wonder how Red is going to play this. Like, we have heard so much about this guy. So much about this guy. And I choose to believe everything I've heard. I choose to believe it all. I haven't seen it, but I choose to believe it. That this guy has looked great in practice when available for the last 2 years. I accept that as fact. How does that translate? How soon does it translate? Knee injury at Auburn. Knee injury to the other knee last year at Syracuse from, a week or two before the start of the season? Maybe 3. Whatever the timing was, not exactly important. Rehab, whatnot. Back. Heard nothing but good things in the summer. Chance Westry's back out there. Oh, Chance Westry's playing. Oh, you're going to like what you see in this guy. I say great. I would love to see Chance Westry. All sounds fantastic. Then what did we hear from Red a few weeks ago? Chance is out with an illness. Sounds like a longish term thing. Certainly longer than a cold. Well, Chance, tonight, we are told, Mike Waters said it first this morning, that Chance is going to be in uniform tonight and supposedly available to play. But will he play? with a guy that hasn't played in an actual game in almost 2 years. Last game was January of 23. Almost 2 years ago at Auburn. In a game tonight where in the olden times of when you just smacked Colgate around, yeah, you just toss a guy in, get his feet wet, and whatever. I wouldn't think anything of it. But tonight, in a game where last year you had to come back from 24 down. 2 years ago he lost. 3 years ago he lost. How, you want to get him in, because if he's as good as I keep hearing, you probably want to play him against, I don't know, Texas next week. But at the same time, for somebody that hasn't played basketball in 2 years, I mean, he's competitive basketball. What's the word? Collegiate basketball. Has not played in a sanctioned NCAA game in almost 2 years. It makes it sound like he's been playing in some sort of weird back alley. But, are you tossing him in this game tonight? Is this the right spot? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I don't know anything about this guy other than he was highly regarded, and from people I trust about basketball, they tell me he's great. That's what I know. I have none of my own opinions on Chance Westry. I would love to start making them. Will he play tonight? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Man, this has been a long saga, though. It has been a long saga. For his sake, it would be great if he comes out and it's like, wow, that guy's pretty good. Is that the most likely scenario after this amount of time away? It is not. So, with bated breath, we wait. Chance Westry. Maybe we will finally see you grace the basketball court tonight. With that, we will take a break. As we take this break, if you want to, in person, wait with bated breath to maybe see Chance Westry tonight, we have 2 tickets remaining for the game tonight. We have 2 tickets remaining. There's no time to wait, right? The game's tonight. This isn't caller 5. This isn't a trivia question. No, we need to get these tickets in your hand like yesterday. Caller 1, if you want to go to the game tonight, now. Hopefully, now. Caller 1 right now. I got 2 for the game tonight. 315-437-76. Now. 315-437-7644. Now. Last 2 for the game tonight. You want to go. Maybe Chance Westry. SU-Colgate. It's been fascinating. Good, bad, and otherwise the last 3 years. Get to the game tonight. Caller 2 right now. Caller 2. Caller 1. Caller 0. Just call the number. You're going to the game tonight. Kyle McCord. He's not going to the game tonight. He's busy being the quarterback and at practice and whatnot. Kyle joins us next. We'll talk a little football, then back to hoops as we go later in the show. McCord next. Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio.
Saturday, the Orange.
Oh, I miss Malik, Minnesota Dan. I miss Malik. He was really good. Malik Brown was really good. I wish he had stayed. That's a fact, Tim. There's always a chance. Yeah, Malik played D. I liked that. And he was good at it. I liked that. Oh, Big Poppy is in the mix. I don't think Malik wanted to play center anymore, Dan. I don't think he wanted anything to do with playing center anymore. I mean, Malik's a better defender than Jair Davis. I mean, Malik's an outstanding defensive player. Yeah, but, like, how much can you promise that? Like, to what level can you promise that you know that you're not going back on it? Pre and post, Cavendo. See, yelling at people for tickets, that gets them going. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody hate somebody more than Minnesota Dan hates Eddie Lampkin.
No, Minnesota Dan is you are anti-Eddie Lampkin, Dan.
Eddie Lampkin.
It is. The thing is, like, if you keep Brown and then don't get Lampkin at the same time, like, how in the world is Malik Brown going to believe you that he's not going to play center? Like, how would he believe that?
It's also not just, hey, we have $1 million, let's give it to this guy. I mean, with Duke, they were able to say, hey, Malik, you can play your position every single time you're on the court with us. With Syracuse, it just wouldn't be the thing. He's still one of the best defensive players the entire time. He's going to have to guard everybody on a team.
Yeah, and this is not me necessarily saying I'm in on Lampkin. It's just like, if like the center thing was the sticking point with Malik, which is, I could be wrong. That's my sense of it. I don't know what you could have done to convince him otherwise.
And if you convinced him, you would have been lying to him. He would have played center if he stayed here. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Because to not play him center, you would have been actively not playing your best lineup. The brakes are broken, San Diego Q's. Panic, panic, panic. But I did say that about Lampkin when he got recruited, not knowing anything about him. Like, he only had 7 blocked shots last year. That was head scratching. Yeah, but so you're going to actively, Dan, in this scenario, you're going to keep Malik Brown, know that your best lineup is with him at the 5 probably, and then not do it. I'm just saying, like, if you're Malik, even if you got this promise, like, he's not dumb. It's at Duke. How do you believe it? Like, I don't know if there was anything Red could have done. Like, what? Like, sign a blood oath that he was never going to play center? I don't know what you could have done to...
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, rolling along here on this Tuesday. Game day! Not for our next guest, though. It better not be, because I am not remotely prepared for a football game tonight. Is it what? Action? No. He'll be back on the field, West Coast, at Cal. Big game, man. We'll talk about basketball's freaking out here about game 2. Football's getting ready to decamp for the West Coast to get ready for game 10 of the season. They're 6-3. They're 6, 7, 8, 9. It's still available, but to reach those intriguing levels, you gotta go win this one. So we'll see what Kyle McCord and crew have in store for their trip out west on Saturday. What I know is they wish to have something in store a little bit better than last week. Starting to turn the page from that one. Get ready for Saturday. And without further ado, here's our weekly visit with our guy Kyle McCord, brought to us by our friends at Davidson Ford in Clay and Davidson Chevy in Rome. It is our weekly chat with our guy Kyle McCord, looking back at Boston College, getting you ready for the second West Coast trip of the season, heading out to take on Cal this upcoming Saturday, 3 o'clock local for us, kick time, nooner, out on the West Coast. And man, oh man, Kyle, like I look at this game, it's like you had it, you didn't have it, you had it, you didn't have it, onside kicks, all this stuff. What was going on through your mind as that went down the stretch on Saturday?
Yeah, a little bit of everything, obviously, range of emotions, with the slow start, and then we got going, and then stalled a little bit, and then got going a little bit at the end, and then thought you're going to get a chance to go win it after we got the onside kick, and then they overrule it. So, a little bit of everything, but I think across the board on both sides of the ball, there were a handful of plays that we wish we would have had back, and that's just the reality of football, though. I feel like, when you have two good teams, two quality opponents, it's going to come down to one or two plays. So to be on the wrong side of things, it's not fun, but just got to rebound, and another great opportunity to go out west this week and play another really good team.
All right, I want to go into, the drive before the onside. So you guys are going down the field. You know the deal. You're down 9, so you need some combination of 2 scores, timeouts, clock. Like, there's a lot of variables to how you handle it. How are you computing, like, okay, we got to score. Need to score by now. Yeah. How is all that going into your head?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're going to need a score, stop, and score, and, either a field goal and then a stop and a touchdown, or a touchdown, stop, and a field goal. Mm-hmm. So we put together a solid drive and then got down to the red zone and kind of stalled. And so to kick the field goal there, I think, was the right move to cut it to a 1-score game. And then, because, ultimately, you just want to give yourself a chance to win it at the end. So to cut it to a 1-score game, then we got the onside kick on with, a minute and change left. I thought that, I thought that we would have a really good opportunity to go down and score. We were moving the ball pretty well. And especially in college football, a minute and change is a lot of time, especially when clock stops after first downs and, get out of bounds and all that. So I thought, we're going to at least have a chance. And then, obviously they threw the flag and, didn't get to go on the field again. It's tough. You just want to like I said, just give yourself an opportunity to, go out and win. But, and that makes you look back on the previous plays and, think about what you could have done different.
How different are those late game drives? I don't want to say 2-minute drives, because I guess technically this would be the more than 2-minute drives, where, like last year when you were playing quarterback, the clock would stop and you got a first down. This year it doesn't. How different does that compress the end of the game for you? Yeah,
I think that obviously you just have to make the most out of every opportunity you have. And I think it makes the beginning of the game a lot more important, because before, you used to get whatever, like 80 plays was probably like the minimum, that teams would run. Then you would see teams who would go up tempo, get into like the hundreds, and now, most of the time you're in like, the 70s with the plays, some high 60s maybe. But it makes every play that much more important when you're taking away essentially, a whole drive or two. So yeah, it's you just got to make the most out of those opportunities. And, like I said before, when, you lose by one possession, it just makes you go back and think, what, we could have done different to put ourselves in a better chance to win. Yeah, volume of plays is much more in line now with the NFL than certainly what college was doing there. We were seeing 80, 90, 100 play games there for 5-6 years there. Kind of just a few years back was wild to watch that go. And the games would go like 4.5 hours, which is part of why they changed the rules like that. So the onside kick happens. Darryl recovers it, flag down. Like, the thought must have hit your head at some point. It's like, we're going to go win this game right now. Yeah. I was confident because, I've seen them do the onside kick, obviously, a bunch in practice, and Brady is really good at them. And when Darryl got it, obviously you're in great field position. On top of that, ball's literally right at midfield. And, I felt confident that we were going to go down and score. And, I was just excited that we'd have an opportunity to get back on the field again. But obviously when they threw the flag, and said it was illegal blocking, pretty much, just gave us another opportunity to go kick it again. But, the likelihood of getting 2 onside kicks isn't great. But they almost got it too. Yeah, I know. So, it was tough. You never want to put, the game in that situation, where just percentage wise, it's not in your favor, but I thought we were going to get another opportunity there at the end. Yeah, so the ref explained it very weirdly, too, after the penalty. I'm like, wait a minute, did he still give Syracuse the ball? I'm like, what is happening right now? And then, obviously, it goes the way it did. I got to ask you, as we got Kyle McCord here, brought to you by our friends at Davidson Ford and Davidson Chevy, Arande's touchdown catch. Like, I watched it, I'm like, wow, that was nice. And then I watched it again. I'm like, what did he do? Yeah. And then, like, a third time, I'm like, how did he do that? What was your view of that play? Yeah, so having run in front of their student section, and I threw him the ball and kind of lost sight of where he was in the end zone. And then I heard their student section kind of go like crazy. So I'm like, dang, they picked it off. And like I'm kind of like looking over, and I see Aronde like celebrating with the ball in his hand. I'm like, why were they cheering, like going crazy for a Syracuse touchdown? And then they played it on the replay, and that's when I saw the catch, and I was like, well, that explains it. Yeah, so that was ridiculous. That was probably one of the best catches I've ever seen in person, being able to do that. But that's just OG doing OG things.
Yeah, that was, I'd say it was an NFL catch. That's, I don't even know what that was. That was, you don't need to make a catch like that. Most of it, I don't even quite know how he did it. Plays like that where you're the quarterback, you're behind the line, stuff's happening. How often do plays like that happen where you don't know how the play ended? Yeah,
Sometimes, you'll just lose some, like after you throw the ball, and you won't see them. And then most of the time, like it happens after you throw the ball and you get hit and taken down to the ground. And if you're at home, obviously, like hearing the crowd cheer is a good thing. And then if you're on the road, hearing the crowd cheer is a bad thing. I've been on both sides of that. But that's most of the time, like after you throw the ball and you get hit and you really have no idea the result of the play.
Because the ball goes up and then, okay.
Yeah.
Got to be wildly confusing when the cheer is telling you the wrong thing, as they would have been doing last week. We got our guy Kyle McCord with us, getting you ready for Cal this upcoming week. And I think the one thing, not that you want to have a loss here, Kyle, the one thing we've noticed after your first two losses this year, coming out of Stanford and then coming out of the Pittsburgh game especially, you guys bounced back in a big way and bounced back with wins the next two times. What led you guys the previous two times to figure it out that you think applies here this week?
Yeah, I think more than anything, the guys are just excited to get back on the field and play, and kind of right our wrongs a little bit. And obviously, like you said, we've done that the last two times we've lost. And so I think the kind of the message to the team is, carried over, and, that we can't let one bad game and one bad result bleed into another. And so, kind of just have to cut BC off, obviously learn from the film and grow from it and move forward, but making sure that we turn the page and, that, we're on the same, all have the same mindset going into Cal.
We heard from Fran yesterday talking about he's not showering after losses and all this stuff. Like he takes this stuff harder, if not harder, than you guys. So him, perhaps best of all, is best to follow, right? How do you notice like him turn that page, right? Because man, it's grinding on you guys. Yeah. But then, yesterday was Monday, right? Like, well, game week, we got to get going here.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think it's extremely tough in college football because in the NFL you can go 10-7, like you can lose 7 games and still make it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
like
still win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Like 10-7 is a pretty good record. You lose 7 games in college football and you're probably going to get fired. But he takes all those losses extremely personal. And obviously, like, he's not the one playing in the game. He still wears it on his sleeve, but I think, all the guys see that and know that, he wants to win bad, and so do we. And we want to win for Coach Fran, knowing the type of effort that he puts in every single week. And so when we don't win, it's tough. It's tough on everybody, but, I think you have to do a good job of, learning, how to, take a loss and learn from it, and then move on and not let it carry on to the next week.
All right, Cal here this week. They're one of the top turnover teams in the country. Obviously, this is something you guys focus on every week. Regardless, Noel Williams has 7 picks, which is leading the country. How much focus in a week like this does that come in your prep?
Yeah, I think they're leading a lot of categories on defense, especially in turnovers. I think he has the most interceptions in college football. And, they got another good D lineman who I think is top 10 in sacks, maybe. I'm not exactly sure what the number is. And they're experienced from, top down. I think, all the guys, a lot of seniors on the team, and a staff who's been there for a while. So it's not like it's a new system for them. They've been the system since they've gotten there. So it's going to be another really good test. They've played everybody close this year. And, I think it's going to be another opportunity for us to go out west and, kind of right our wrongs. And, it's a good team. And I know all the guys are excited to get back on the field and get that taste from BC out of our mouths.
Kyle, sounds like a good plan. Good travel this week as you head out on Thursday. Best of luck, and we'll talk again next week, all right?
Yep. Thank you.
There's our guy, Kyle McCord, who joins us every Tuesday on the show, brought to you by Davidson Ford of Clay, Davidson Chevy of Rome. So, team, they should be practicing right now. Now. Their plan sounds like, chat with Kyle, is they're going to be flying early Thursday, practice when they get out to the West Coast. Another practice out there, or walkthrough or whatever on Friday, which would sort of be the normal travel day. And then the game is a noon Pacific time on Saturday, so 3 our time. So up and at 'em on Saturday, and then going there. CW again on the TV. Just outstanding news for all of us. And you can listen, as always, over on TK99. Busy day on TK99. Busy day for all of us throughout the day on Saturday. Here's the current plan, subject to change. TK will be, so the basketball game got moved to 1. So the pregame for basketball on the Syracuse Sports Network side of things over on TK is 11:30. They're just going to start, and then like a long time later, after all the games are over, then they'll be done. What we're going to do here is we got basketball at 1. We're going to start on the radio here at ESPN at noon, do a little pregame. We're also got a little special treat for you because all this thing's gotten combined and mishmashed and whatnot. We're going to have Mike McAllister in with us on Saturday morning for a little pregame. And then I don't know if something that might happen on Friday night just so happens to happen. Wink, wink. Kyle Anthony, wink. Cough. Maybe we'll start a little earlier for those of you on Q Sports Talk so we can properly assess that situation. Wink, nudge, cough, cough. Cayenne, cough, wink. And then after both games are over at 6:30-ish, we're going to do a combined football, basketball, Red Autry, Fran Brown, your calls, Q Sports Talk, only Palooza postgame show coming up on Saturday. So we're going to, because we don't want to do a basketball postgame show during the football game. That is silly. So we're just going to wait till it's all done and smush it all together and analyze everything that has happened on Saturday. We're going to analyze it all after the fact. Tonight, I can tell you what we're going to do tonight. Just normal. Like, the game's at 7. Pregame starts at 6. Right here, right after the show. We're just going to keep it moving. Pregame starts at 6. And then after, when the game is over, get back to the radio right here, back to Q Sports Talk. The postgame show will happen. Red Autry press conference will happen. And it will all be neat and simple as a one basketball game night kind of is. So there we are. Our plans for the week. With that, our plan for now is to take a commercial break because that's just the time of the hour that it is. Brought to you, as always, by our friends at William Attar. Hurt in a car? Call William Attar at 444-4444. Our phone lines are open to chat here for the next, 25, 30 minutes or so. Give a ring to us at 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Getting you ready for tonight's game. We'll be joined by Eric Malinowski, the voice of the Colgate Raiders, coming up next hour, right around 5:15 or so, to let you in on the Colgate side of things before the game tonight. With all that, we'll step aside for a few. Back at it right after this here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Saturday.
Fish tender, what is up? Who is? Are you asking me, Zach? Who is calling the game Saturday on the radio? Tim Leonard. Tonight should be Tim and Sats on the radio, Devo and Matt Park on the TV, I do believe. Basketball is playing the Fighting Penguins of Youngstown State on Saturday at 1. The football game is at 3. San Diego Cuse, they're killing you. Did you finally figure out where the bench was and the seats and the whole thing? There you go. Everyone stinks. The Giants really stink, fish tender. They stink. There you go. That's not bad. Extended post-game Saturday CBW. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes. That's how long post-game is Saturday. We'll see how long it takes. We'll play back the red presser probably. We'll get some Fran sounds. We'll see what happens. Look, it's Mike. What's that? Oh, on the stream. Guess we should make a new stream. Yeah. 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 I saw it. I was confused. What was that? Yeah. I had no idea what I was looking at. All right. Only me. Okay. That should probably... You won't get any more like that until later. The Russ Wilson one I sent you, though, was excellent. I'm like, oh, I know who will like this. Yeah, being a Jets fan is always worse, isn't it, fish tender? Though the Giants are making a run for it. Man.
And one.
Yeah. Is anybody here rooting for a good football team right now? We got... Get out. Get out. Yeah. Got Cowboys fans, Giants fans. Everyone's team stinks. We all stink. It's terrible. I don't know, man. Not for long, San Diego Q's. Yeah, the Giants, thankfully for the Giants, is it's only the last decade plus. Before that, everything was fine. Yeah, the Giants still have the most recent Super Bowl win of most of the teams any of us root for.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, back at it here on this Tuesday. Game day. Game night. Goose. Colgate. Man. It's the good and the bad of Q's Colgate, right? Like, for years and years, it's like, yeah, the Colgate game's tonight. Yawn! Now it's like, the Colgate game's tonight. Okay, that's interesting. In every possible way. Man, Syracuse needs to win this game, though. They got to win this game. You hate that it's come to that against Colgate. I mean, it's twofold. Obviously, Syracuse has slid a bit. Colgate, I mean, it's the best period they've had in all of our lives. Like, even when they had, like, an actual NBA player, Donald Foyle, they still weren't great. Like, he was great. But Matt Langle's got him cooking here the last few years. It's a newish team, one of the younger teams he's had of late, but we'll see how they do tonight. It has become a worrisome game. It has become a worrisome game because of the last 3 years. I'll tell you this. We are less than a week out from the lights being on the lake. I'm going to guess the lights are probably there already, but, they're going to wait to turn them on. The Wegmans Lights on the Lake starts a week from yesterday. You still have a chance. I do believe there are limited spots available. in the Upstate Orthopedics Lights on the Lake 5K run. That is a week from Sunday, November 24th. I think this is all gone. You can try. It was rapidly selling out earlier today. The first ever Lights on the Lake walk at 6 a.m. November 23rd. There was one spot left earlier this afternoon. One. So, go clickety-clack, click your way over to lightsonthelake.com if you want to snag that last spot. It may have already been snagged. I've been in this room for like the last hour or so. So I don't know who's been buying what. But go check it out. The run, the walk, the lights. You can just get tickets. You can get tickets to drive. You don't need to use your legs at all. Get in the car and sit and look at them. Lightsonthelake.com. Lightsonthelake.com. Once again, the largest outdoor light show in the Northeast. It's CNY's number one holiday tradition. It starts 1 week from Monday. The Monday that was yesterday. It starts on Monday. How about that? Monday it starts. With that, we will take a break. When we come back, a lot more hoops to get to. I know we have a whole pregame show to follow, so maybe the order of operations doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. But sometimes you need to know right now. Next, no wrong answers. I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen in the game tonight. We'll tell you. The phone lines are open as well, 301-543-7644. After that, we'll get Eric Malinowski in here, who calls Colgate games, to tell us who the heck the Raiders are this year, because a lot of different names or names that have gone from smaller to significantly larger roles this year, so we need to know who to keep an eye out on tonight. We'll talk to Eric in roundabouts 20 coming up later on in the program. With that, we step aside. Hour 2 next. Q Sports Talk, ESPN Radio.
The Sports
Expensive SmackDown tickets, San Diego Q's? Yeah, Dak's done for the year. Daniel Jones should be done for the year. I guess the Giants don't have to say anything. The Giants aren't a bye this week, so they don't have to officially announce that Daniel Jones will never, ever start again until next week. They can announce that, right? There's never a bad time for a striped sweater, Garrett Bobby Ferguson. Never. It's officially sweater season now that I'm wearing a sweater. This is actually my first sweater of the season. For those officially keeping track, I'd been going like full-on quarter zips and whatnot. We officially had to make the move today, even though it's not actually warmer nor colder than the quarter zips. It's just more a state of mind than anything. Wow. That's crazy, San Diego Q's. I'm sure you did, Mike. What's the O-line like? Terrible, Dan. Their best lineman is hurt and out for the year. The defense can't stop the run. Though Dexter Lawrence is pretty nice. Yeah, Dave Gettleman, it's not Daniel Jones' fault, but it's Dave Gettleman. It's Dave Gettleman's fault. I don't care about the injury clause. They bench him because he stinks. I do remember that, Tronic. I don't want to. Oh, my God, that was a blown game. Yeah. If Syracuse loses to Colgate tonight, it's Dave Gettleman's fault. Oh, that Vikings playoff loss. How much were the Giants up in that game? Like 13, 11? They were up big. Because he also stinks. Daniel Jones, like, two things can be true. Do I feel like if he could, I think he's, I mean, like he can't, which, you know, he'd have to get some crazy ruling on it. But, like, I think it's a situation like if for whatever reason he had another year of eligibility, like I think he'd be perfectly happy to use it. But I also think it's not like he's going to the league. Oh, Seahorn. Man, he was really good before he shredded his knee. Dan, we've spent six years, Dan. How long do I need to watch the guy to know he stinks? 6 years. I'm done with it. If he wants to be good, he can go be good somewhere else. 6 years. I can't anymore. He throws picks all the time. He fumbles all the time. He misses wide open guys all the time. He's terrible. And he's getting worse. He's worse than he was before. He's a worse quarterback than a few years ago. Yeah, Jones was a dookie. He's had one legitimately, like, wow, game of his career. And go figure that was the playoff win over the Vikings. That's enough out of you, Mike.
Lisa, if you don't like your job, you don't strike. You just go in every day and do it really half-assed. That's the American way.
I hope it's happy hour.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're halfway there.
This is a great day. A really great day.
All across CNY, it's the 315 with Brian Higgins. Halfway home, we drive into the second hour with Burdick BMW.
All right, into hour two. 2 hours away now from the opening tip tonight inside the Dome. Cuse and the Raiders of Colgate. No longer the Red Raiders. They're just Raiders now. They once had a color, and now they do not. And that brings us up to date on Colgate. We'll see how good they are this year. I don't know. Like, their preseason pick to win the Patriot League, you know, on reputation more than anything. The reputation of winning the league every year. Good reputation to have. But we'll see how it goes tonight. Orange have lost 2 out of 3 in the series after not having lost at all in the series in 6 decades. So it's been, things have gone a little wonky the last couple of years. We'll see what Syracuse can do about it tonight in the Dome. What have we done so far on the show today? We've told you about that. Told you Chance Westry may be available tonight. Maybe a chance to see Chance. More Chance puns. Then we heard from Kyle McCord. All that in hour 1. And we yelled at you to get our last pair of tickets. We've given them away. They're given away. If you'd like to chat about the game tonight or anything else, phone's available. 315-437-7644. They'll remain available throughout pregame and postgame, of course, tonight. So keep the number handy to talk Syracuse hoops as we go on throughout our time and evening together. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk some Colgate side of things with their play-by-play guy, Eric Malinowski. He'll join us coming up in 10-15 minutes or so to help us understand what Colgate is tonight. We know what they've been here the last half decade or so. A lot of the familiar names from that group, the Nelly Cummingses, etc., are gone or long gone. Who do they got left? Who's their guy? They've got Jeff Woodward. You recognize their center back. He's kind of a hulking 6'11 presence inside. Their leading scorer right now. The other names you may be like, I think I remember that name, but I'm not quite certain. And we'll need Eric here to help properly silo all of that for us coming up for the game tonight to know who we need to be fearful of when it comes to the Raiders tonight. They have not been a great three-point shooting team as of yet this season. But after hitting, 37 combined threes in the 2 wins in the Dome 2 and 3 years ago, I think it's just best of us to check to see who we might need to watch out for shooting 3 tonight, just in case, just so we're all prepared and all on the same page for that one. Okay? Okay. With that, though, next we'll find out answers. Now I'm going to tell you answers. Right now, I'm going to tell you no wrong answers of what's happening tonight in the Dome.
No wrong answers.
Give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H.
Jose.
There are no wrong answers.
What months of pregnancy does a woman begin to look pregnant?
September.
No wrong answers.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob.
Naked grandma.
Naked, huh?
I'm like an animal.
Keep your voice down.
I'm like King Kong.
No wrong answers. SU-Colgate, here's what's going on in the Dome tonight. No wrong answers. As Mike Waters told us this morning, Chance Westry will be dressed for the game tonight. No wrong answers. I don't think he plays. Bummer. I think it's going to be potentially another nip and tuck close game. When do you insert him into the game if you're red? How do you do that? I think it's more likely we see Chance on Saturday than tonight. No wrong answers on Chris Bell. He had 15 points after halftime in Syracuse's 24-point comeback win against the Raiders last year. 25 total in the game. Then a career high for Bell till that game where he had all the threes in the first half and just wouldn't miss and just kept hitting 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. 20 points in the opener for Bell against Lemoyne last week. How about 20 more tonight for Chris? I liked the variety we saw in his game. Yes, it was Lemoyne, but really the first time ever we've seen offensive variety from Bell into his third year. A couple dribble pull-ups, got to the rim a few times, and he did have, in a game where defense was lacking, he did have the defensive play that sealed the game with his steal lane. I think back-to-back 20-point games for Bell to start the season would be a good look for the junior sharpshooter tonight. J.J. Starling. JJ needs to attack. What we saw on Monday, what I've thought in the entire lead up to this season, and it ties into last year. Last year you had Judah and JJ. They were both the attack guys, and because of their styles, they could often, end up wanting and or needing to be in like the exact same spot of the court. This year, Judah's gone. JJ's that guy. JJ had the ceiling bucket prior to the ceiling steal by Bell last week, where a great slashing drive to the rim and a finish at the cup. We need to see more aggressive JJ more of the time. In my mind right now, the best version of Syracuse this year is a version in which JJ is an aggressive, downhill, get-to-the-bucket scorer who, while it would be nice if he's making threes, that is Act 2. Act 1 is getting to the rim. With that comes aggression. With aggression, and as we saw last year and the year before from Judah, getting to the rim, comes free throws. JJ shot just 2 free throws in the opener last Monday. I think we see a more aggressive JJ Starling tonight. His total scoring numbers are cloudy. I've got him, though, attempting at least 6 free throws tonight, which will show me that JJ is being more aggressive, which is what Syracuse needs from him on offense going forward. Feels like no wrong answers, another Jair Davis game tonight. Red said it after last game. They wouldn't have won without Jair, and Red was correct. Not getting 20 tonight, but I think Davis in a game where, they got Woodward, one big guy in the middle. Besides that, it's not a hugely sizable Colgate team. Jair Davis feels like a game that he can get inside and do his undersized post work. I got 16 tonight for Jair. I got another settle-in game for Donnie Freeman where final numbers look decent and we maybe see him grow a little bit. It was a double-double in the opener for Freeman, but on 3 of 12 shooting. I think it's another double-double tonight. Donnie Freeman's a large individual. He had 10 rebounds last game. Get him 10 more. Get him 14 points. Maybe a little more efficiency on offense. Looking a little more steady. He looked a little unsettled at points on Monday night. I think we start to see young Donnie settle in tonight. Back-to-back double-doubles to start his collegiate career. As far as Colgate, the numbers are clear. Over the last 3 years, Colgate in the Dome has made 46 three-pointers. That means in 3 straight games in the Dome, they have averaged more than 15 3-pointers a game. Now, those numbers have gone 18, 19, and 9. So it reeled back a little bit last year. Colgate this year shooting mid-20s percentage-wise, albeit just 2 games into the season from the outside. I say they have an okay game tonight. The Orange gave up 9 threes against Lemoyne. Let's mark down another 9 from the outside for Colgate tonight. A decent amount, but not an oh my God, ridiculous amount that we saw in the 2 Raiders wins in the Dome 2 and 3 years ago. Jeff Woodward, their big 6'11", powerful center. He goes about 270 or so. He is a strong guy inside who's played in a lot of big-time basketball games in his career over 5 years for Colgate. He comes in as their leading scorer tonight, averaging 15.5 points a game. I think he keeps it going inside. The Orange didn't exactly show a lot of post-defense speciality in the game against Lemoyne last week. They got to the rim a lot. Woodward averaging 15.5. I think he gets 18 tonight. Colgate, my main sense is they are too good and too solid of a program to come into the Dome after the last 3 years and get blown out by Syracuse. I know they got handled by Drexel over the weekend down in Philadelphia, but this is a game that they know every year. They come here every year. They've won 2 of the last 3 years. They understand what coming into the Dome is all about. I think they're too good of a program to get blown out. I have Syracuse winning the game, but it being competitive throughout. No wrong answers. Final score tonight, Syracuse 82 and Colgate 75 as Syracuse gets out of there 2-0. There we are. No wrong answers, Cuse and Colgate. Tonight, we'll find out how it really goes down in less than 2 hours in the Dome tonight. All right, let's hit a break here on our pregame. We're not yet to pregame. On our pre-pregame proceedings. We'll talk to the voice of the Raiders, Eric Malinowski, when we come back. Get his view on what Colgate is this year. What are they this year? All I know is they keep being good year after year after year. What's this year's version got in store? We'll ask Eric next here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Don Mick.
Oh, McAllister coming in with violence. CJC agrees with Mike, which means he likes my sweater. Probably. Fifth, they got to drop more than $50 million into one of the grossest stadiums in the majors. Man.
Are you talking about Tampa?
Yeah.
It won't be ready until 2026.
Did they say where they're playing next year yet?
I did not see that in the article. I just saw that.
I don't know if they've said yet. Zach, they have a lot of players back. They got one starter back, one sort of starter back. It's a lot of guys that have elevated roles from. Oh yeah, Mike. After football and women's hoops Sunday, if Colgate wins tonight, we're just going to straight negative 10.
Saw that one.
Did I?
Went in.
Yeah. Yeah, the big guy is back. Everybody else is not new, but new to their role. Like most of the names you remember, yes, San Diego Cuse, that is correct. Smith, he is redshirting at Gonzaga. He's from. That's the second finger gun wink you've done on the way out of the room today. Yeah, it was. It's true. But the fact that you've already done one. I don't know. Langle's a good coach. I'm sure I'll have him ready to roll. Yeah, he's from Washington, so he went back home-ish to the Zags, and I'm blanking on Gonzaga's point guard name. Where is Scooter when you need him? But he's redshirting behind him this year, and then be ready to go next year. So yeah, we're gonna if Colgate gives it a game tonight, it'll be different names than we're used to. $20? Damn.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, here we are, rolling along on this Tuesday. Game day, game night. Getting you ready for what's turned into, my goodness, one heck of a crazy series here over the last few years with Syracuse and Colgate. With that, we're going to go bring on our next guest. He calls the Colgate games, if you're watching them on ESPN Plus in the general area. You're listening on the radio and in Hamilton. We bring in our guy, Eric Malinowski. Eric, always great to chat with you about some the Raiders. And, man, this has turned into a bit of something here, has it not, over the last 3 years with these Cuse Colgate games?
Yeah, Colgate was definitely hoping for the 3 in a row, Brian, but Syracuse, of course, was able to come back from the 24-point deficit. But, yeah, I mean, you go back a couple years. I mean, when's the last time Colgate beat them? It had to go, 45, 50 years ago. So it was something that did not expect to see the competitiveness that we've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, go figure. It was closer to 60 at that point. It was going back to 62. And now, yeah, the last 3 years, it's 2 Raider wins. And then, you know, in many ways, they were dominating last year's game even more than the first two before it kind of fell apart there in the last 15 minutes. So what do we got here this year with Colgate? It's 5 of 6 tournaments. It's yet another year of Matt Langle, who's done a fantastic job. But it's not necessarily, right, the same cast and crew we've gotten to know here the last few years.
Yeah, it's really tough to know, especially only Game 3, considering that usually when they play a D3 opponent, it's to get a break from the Syracuses, the NC States of the world. It's usually 5 or 6 games in due to scheduling. The way it was this year, the only time they could play it was the first game of the season. So they've got the D3 game against SUNY Canton under their belt, and, of course, the road game against Drexel. And, Brian, this is the first time since the 2017-2018 season that Colgate has not returned an all-Patriot League selection. So Syracuse fans will know the name of Jeff Woodward. Tonight will be his 123rd game played, but he's got like 22 starts. And last year their strength was inside out with Keegan records and Jeff Woodward. But now it's inside out again with their strength being Jeff Woodward, but you don't have the kind of depth you do last year. And, of course, the big missing piece of the puzzle, the first time this has happened of any significance under the Matt Langle era, and I think one of the reasons why Colgate has been able to continue their Patriot League dominance and give non-conference bigger opponents headaches is because they have not had any defections through the transfer portal. But, of course, this past year, Braden Smith going to Gonzaga where he is redshirting, but that, of course, is a is a major defection for the Colgate Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, he was the Patriot League Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. He's from out there. He's from Washington. If you're wondering how the heck does he get there and get back, so it's kind of a weird circumstance to line it up. And you think of any other Colgate guys, Nellie Cummings and whatnot, that may have left it. They'd already done 4 years, and it wasn't really the portal like you'd think of it. So I think that's what's so interesting here, looking at the Colgate roster this year. It's maybe a lot of new names to Syracuse fans. It's not totally new names, right, to Colgate fans. It's guys getting adjusted into bigger roles. I look at the starting lineup. It's kind of how teams used to be, right, pre-portal, where a sophomore who maybe was the eighth man last year now gets to start. That kind of feels like it's college basketball the way it used to be here for Colgate.
Yeah, two of the names in the starting lineup tonight, Jalen Cox and Brady Cummins, they were kind of afterthoughts with the amount of talent that Colgate had in the lineup the last couple of years. But Brady and Jalen played their best basketball down the stretch in the Patriot League tournament. Jalen played a major role in the come-from-behind win against Bucknell, and then Brady had a really good game in the Patriot League championship final against Lehigh. So they need those two to step up. Jalen especially because, while he was a court complement to Braden Smith, now he's the man in the backcourt. He's the one running the show. And then you got Nicholas Louis-Jacques, who has played a bunch for Colgate, but only 20-plus starts, kind of like Jeff Woodward, so where he was kind of asked to be a role player, hit the occasional three, play some defense, get some steals. Now he's more of a person that they really need to count on. And then Parker Jones, who I think maybe not as good as Tucker Richardson, but he certainly has that versatility aspect where he can kind of do everything for Matt Langle, and just how effective he will be is something we'll have to wait and see. But they still have some talent on the roster, and I still think this is very much a roster that could win the Patriot League. How they will fare against the Syracuse and NC States of the world, well, that might be another thing coming for them.
It's a heady week here for Colgate with those games coming up here. As Eric Malinowski is our guest talking about the Colgate Raiders here tonight. And, Matt Langle's still there. I don't know how many people would have bet on that this year after this run that he's had and, the way people move up the coaching ranks these days. Are you surprised here, Eric, that he A, either has hung on or B, has not gotten offered an opportunity that's been to his liking at this point?
The last 2 or 3 years ago, I was at the point of where just open mouth, couldn't believe it. Yeah, I was shocked. But now I just kind of take it for granted that Matt's going to be around for Colgate. Maybe when I least expect it will be the year that Matt leaves for a bigger school. But certainly the resume's there. I would think it would be a no-brainer if even if a Big Five school wanted to take a chance. I mean, Matt Langle has a background for success. He has laid the foundation at Colgate. It took him a while, and that's the one thing that if you're at a bigger school, you may look at Coach Langle's resume, where at a bigger school, you might not have that time to, build a program from the ground up, because Matt didn't really get it turned around until, the fifth or sixth year. It took a couple years in there to really get things turned around, and, of course, Jordan Burns helped that transition where he was a major player and gained them to the NCAA tournament their first time in how many years since Donald Foyle, and just came up short against Tennessee. But, yeah, I think Matt Langle would be a great addition at a major program, and I think I would be very surprised if he didn't have success wherever he went.
It's something, too, like that unless you're going to get, like, a legit major job, like, why take a little step up, right? Like, you've got a fantastic thing going there at Hamilton at this point where you've got a legit shot to go to the tournament every year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw, there has been, for example, Steve Donahue went from Cornell to Boston College and had his struggles with BC there. So, you have all this success at a smaller school, and then you think, well, what else is out there for me? And you may take a big step, and, of course, the money would be there, but is it a move for success? I think Matt Langle's case it would be, but you never know. And every single year, he's going to have a chance to compete for the Patriot League title, even with the defection of Braden Smith. Like I said, I think they have an excellent shot of winning it all again in the Patriot League.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, like, even with all the guys gone, just because of all the recent success, you're going to get voted preseason favorite in the league, and they are. Who are the biggest threats to Colgate this year, do you think? Or do you think after, a month here to gel it up, that they will be looking like the best team in the league?
Yeah, I mean, Lehigh went to the Patriot League final last year. I think Bucknell is another team to watch, and it'll be interesting to see what all the other schools bring back. And that was another reason Colgate was so successful in years past, is because they're the ones that were able to keep everyone, while the other schools, I mean, look at Loyola Maryland, of all schools. Cam Spencer played for Loyola Maryland before transferring, and then did what he did for UConn. So, I mean, there's been all this talent that has defected from the other Patriot League schools, and now it was Colgate's turn. So I would think Lehigh, Bucknell, American is another good team, but you never know how things really shape up. In past years, Brian, I thought the same thing. I don't think Colgate's going to be able to win it this year. And then when they get into Patriot League play, even though they've struggled in non-conference slates, like last year, they struggled in non-conference. They lost by 20 to Iona. And then once again, Patriot League play, they flicked the switch, and they just look like a different team.
I guess that's the good news, right, too? Like the good and bad of being in a one big league, right, Eric? That, hey, if it takes you a minute to figure it out, like, that's fine. Like, the beginning of the year isn't going to cost you, right? It's all about where you're at peak and come March.
Yeah, that's definitely the advantage of being in a one-bid league. The disadvantage, where Colgate hasn't had that hiccup either, which I think is even more remarkable, is you see all those tournament upsets, and Colgate has not succumbed to that. They lost to Boston University the COVID year in the Patriot League tournament final, but they have not slipped up once. And, even if a team dominates in the conference tournament, you usually see a team upset here or there, but that has not been the case for Colgate. So that is the disadvantage of being in a one-bid league, where you can absolutely dominate during the regular season, then have one slip up in the tournament, and you're going to the NIT.
Yeah, they have found a way to figure it out at the exact right time for the last half decade or so. So we got Eric Malinowski with you, getting you ready for Syracuse and Colgate tonight. All right, Eric, so we've talked about some of the guys. I'd say the main thing you think of, certainly the two wins that Colgate had in the Dome, was just the insane volume of three-point shooting. They made 37 threes in those two wins. So if Syracuse fans are, watching the game tonight, going to game tonight, or, obviously plenty of Colgate fans within the sound of our voice as well, who should they be watching for? Like, if that is to happen again, who are the guys to watch out for from outside?
And that's the thing, Brian. They have struggled from beyond the arc in the first two games. They were 11 out of 33 against Division III SUNY Canton, and then 4 out of 25 against Drexel. So that is something to watch. With the fact that the guys in the lineup tonight were the third or fourth options last year, and now they're the one or two options. I mean, I would think Nicholas Louis-Jacques is the starter to be wary of as far as the three-point shot is concerned. And off the bench, he's a very streaky player. Either he's very on or he struggles, is Chandler Baker. Baker's a senior. He has experience for the Colgate Raiders. He's still coming off the bench, but he is certainly a guy that can hit the three, and he can hit a lot of them if he gets in a rhythm. So I would say watch out for him. And as I mentioned, Brian, depth is an issue. Who the backup point guard is, who the backup big man is, question marks going into this season. So far, Blake Forrest and Kyle Carlesimo, PJ Carlesimo's son, are kind of the combo backup point guard. And then Sam Wright is the backup big man, just to give you a little, glimpse of the depth. And, instead of Keegan Records, Jeff Woodward, the two-headed monster, now you're getting Jeff Woodward and the unproven Sam Wright. And also last year was Braden Smith, and then Jalen Cox off the bench. Now you got Jalen Cox and a combo of Kyle Carlesimo and the true freshman Blake Forrest.
Okay, so something to keep an eye on there to see if the depth from Colgate can give anything tonight. All right, last thing, Eric, how do you think this plays out tonight? What's your expectation here?
Well, being for Colgate, I have to think the Raiders will harken back to a couple years ago and pull a miracle out. But to be honest, out of the last, this being the fourth year with Colgate winning the last 2 out of 3, this this will be the toughest matchup on paper. I mean, this is the most unproven Colgate, which even Matt Lingo told me before the season started. As far as rotations are concerned and minutes, this is, the biggest uncertainty I've ever had going into a season. So, out of the last 4 years, I think on paper, Syracuse by far has the upper hand. We'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, maybe someone will rise to the occasion. They still have talent, but not as much proven talent as in years past, Brian.
Yeah, that's for sure. Those were some extremely veteran, talented Colgate teams that the Orange have been dealing with of late. All right, man. Always great to chat, Eric. Thanks so much for the insight on the Raiders.
All right, Brian, thanks.
There he is, Eric Malinowski. He's the guy that calls all the Colgate games back in Hamilton. Syracuse grad in his own right. Always good to chat with our guy, Eric. With that, we will step aside for a few. We'll get Mike in here, do a little 4-on-1 next. We've been talking hoops for a long time. It'll turn into a pregame show in half an hour. Magical. All of that as we work toward a 7 o'clock tip tonight between the Orange and the Raiders. 4-on-1 next here on Kids Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
The Sports Show.
Mike's going hard pregame jinx here. The McAllister reverse jinx. We need to put McAllister in a onesie? How do you feel about that, Mike? Mike McAllister in a onesie. We're putting Mike in here on Saturday. A little pregame. Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll talk about Kai and Anthony. I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to see. Maybe. Just maybe. Mrs. McAllister, Mike's better half, has vetoed the onesie. The decision is Friday night, Tim. I know when the decision is. So just perhaps we'll have to make a big deal out of it on Saturday morning. Yes, I have. Just perhaps Cayenne knows what he's doing by now. I'm going to eye test it tonight, Dan. Like, I'm somewhat with you on the Lampkin thing. Like, I'm not sold on Eddie, but I need to see it. Like, to your point, can, like, Donnie Freeman be a presence in the post on defense? Like, maybe. Like, I just got to see him play better. Like, if Colgate plays well, Syracuse wins by 9, but just looks better, then I'll feel better about life. I just need to see them look better, regardless of score. Like, say Colgate's terrible. Like, say this is the worst Colgate team in a decade and they're trash. Like, there's a world that Syracuse wins by 20, and I come out of tonight being like, oh, that wasn't great. Like, I mean, Colgate did just lose to Drexel by 17. Like, it's possible this is not a good Colgate team at all. Look, what's that? Oh, man. Oh, man. Yes, Tim and Saddlein on the radio tonight. Park and Devo on TV, I think. I'm assuming.
I have a new favorite Tim saying, like from a call. There was a play when Kyra Wood got like knocked down or whatever, and he goes, and Kyra Wood's on the ground with her arms raised, wondering what happened, and Coach Jack is screaming, she's getting murdered out there, which is her way of saying, where's the foul call?
It's a murder.
Here's Brian Higgins.
Rolling along. Game night. Brought to you by DVOffers.com. Powered by Drivers Village. Which still, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, game day, not game day, it's in Cicero.
Here's the 411.
Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
In the 315.
So you're going to be doing that all week, right?
Nah.
Mike's here.
Hello.
What's going on?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Happy Veterans Day, Mike. One day
Thank
after.
you. Thank you.
Do we salute you?
You can.
I could. That was the wrong hand. My right arm's on the table.
You know?
I'm
you
disrespecting your veteran status.
I feel very respected.
Did you get any good veterans deals yesterday? I was wondering this on the show.
No,
You didn't take advantage?
I did not. And you've probably heard me mention before that, like, the military takes veterans.
No, I said that yesterday.
Serious.
I'm like, when you were in the military, like, you got like a sheet. Like,
Yeah.
go to these 12 places, free meals all day.
Yeah, we get an entire sheet of every coffee place, every Applebee's, every Texas
It's like a cheat
Roadhouse.
sheet for a test.
Yeah, everything. And they even gave us the day off, too. It was like, hey, here, go be happy for a day.
All right. Yeah. But nothing yesterday. All right.
Nothing yesterday. And that was just because I was too busy. I couldn't even get out to practice kicking.
Uh-oh.
You know? I ain't got time to go find deals.
We're less than 2 weeks from Mike's spectacular kick.
And I have 0 kick attempts.
0, yeah.
in that time.
You're staying fresh. I like it.
Exactly.
He's staying fresh.
I don't want to waste to make, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I got one make in me.
I've got a lot of misses in me. I don't need to get them out of the way.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's one more undefeated team in the NFL, Brian, and we just got to take a look at their schedule, because at this point, will the Chiefs be beaten is my question for you.
I wonder what kooky way they're going to find to win next.
Yeah, and that's the big reason of why I ask is this week's game was by far their worst performance on the season, and they still snuck away with a win.
Block a chip shot field goal to win it at the buzzer. Like craziness.
And they still find a way to walk out with a W. It's 16-14 and not really that pretty of a win. But if that's the worst game they've had this season and they still are winning, I mean, maybe this week is one of the only chances that anybody could really have to beat them. The Bills are
Let's go Buffalo.
Yeah, give their best shot. I mean, the spread is towards Buffalo, so maybe.
I'm not to root against the Bills here, but I think what could be just morbidly entertaining is if like the Chiefs games keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
They're like, we won 3-2. Hey, it's 4-3. We got 2 safeties and we pulled it out late.
I wonder what the lowest scored game in NFL history is.
Probably 0-0. I'm just gonna.
Well, I mean,
lob that
where there's
one out.
not a tie.
Yeah.
That was bad word usage.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So basically, like I'm sure there's probably been a 3-0 as well. I don't know if there's ever been a 2-0.
Well, here's my question: what's the least amount of points scored in an NFL game where both teams scored?
Both teams scored.
That's probably how I should have worded that.
All right. Has there been? So you're asking? Like I'm sure there's been a 3-3.
I don't know.
But they've had 100 years.
There's been a 3-2.
Well, that's what I don't know.
There could be a 3.
We'll have to ask the score. No,
it could just be a 6-1.
Yeah, yeah.
Or no, be a 6-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a 6-1.
Okay, we'll have to ask the folks at Scorigami if there's been a 3-2.
I wonder if there's a Twitter for that.
Scorigami.
Yeah, they got like Stat Muse Twitters. They gotta have a Scorigami.
I didn't make it up.
Brian, we're getting off track here.
Scorigami. It's
Who's
a thing.
gonna beat the Chiefs?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So I mean, the Bills are playing well.
I think if I look at their schedule, I think you got the Bills, Texans and Steelers are the three teams that could beat them, but I think your best chance this season is they might finish the year with one loss, but I think there's a higher chance they go undefeated than lose two. I
like that they're seemingly going for it.
Yeah.
I like the idea. They've got 2 Super Bowls. Like the legacy is secure, but they could legacy it up to the next level if they somehow keep this cooking.
That would be insane. Going undefeated and winning your 3rd in a row, that would just
insane. Especially because they're trying to do it. They're just playing their defense is fantastic. But their offense is playing crappier by the week, and it's just
and they're like, we'll figure it out, and they do.
And it's fascinating to watch.
I would be very shocked if at the end of the season the Chiefs have more than one loss. I think the best chance, there's a higher chance of them going undefeated than losing 2.
I'll say this, if they lose, say they lose Sunday, then they can just reel it back so far.
Yeah.
Because, if they're not going for the undefeated anymore, then, it almost doesn't matter what they do the rest of the regular season. They can just monkey around until the playoffs.
Unless you absolutely self-implode, you're almost locked in for the playoffs.
So I'll say this. Honestly, if they lose 1, it might be just likely they'll lose 4.
That's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. If they drop 1, you might as well.
They'll just be like, well, we're done with that. Let's just go move on to something else now.
You saw that the Sun was giving CeeDee Lamb some issues, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for any of you that don't know, which would be very difficult because I've been seeing it everywhere the last couple of days, CeeDee Lamb got blinded by the sun in the Cowboys game and didn't even miss a touchdown.
He had no idea.
Know it existed.
No idea. Did you see this yesterday? And this was real from yesterday, I think. At least I think it was from yesterday. It was certainly real. It was a picture of a Mike McCarthy press conference, and the Dallas press room, it's it's off the hallway leading into the field, so there's still a lot of windows and whatnot. The sun was coming into the room, so they put up a little screen so it wouldn't hit him in the face. So they can do it for the press conference, but not for the actual football game.
I saw that. I don't remember where I saw it, but the top comment was Sun 0 or Sun 2 Cowboys 0.
Yeah, it's just I'm not sure if it was actually happening yesterday or not, but it was. It was a legit real picture of a thing that happens there that they need to put up a little screen so the sun's not blinding the head coach and screwing up the lighting of their press conferences.
Yeah, the irony of that was very funny. But also, Jerry Jones was talked to about CeeDee Lamb saying, these curtains would be beneficial, and then Jerry Jones's response was, "It's only a positive for us. That doesn't cause any issues."
The moon. What about the moon?
It's just great. I don't know. It's Jerry Jones.
Dak's out for the year now. Oh, it's
Jerry Jones never ceases to impress me with what he says to the media. I love that guy. He's wild.
Jerry Jones. I'll say this. Jerry Jones, still a great owner. Terrible GM.
Great owner.
Fantastic owner.
One of the best ever in any American sport.
What's crazy is because of his GMing for the last 30 years, I don't think he's actually getting enough credit for being a great owner.
That's very true. I mean,
a brilliant business guy.
These small market teams probably wouldn't exist anymore if it wasn't for what Jerry Jones did for the bargaining agreements and all that. Where everybody gets a cut.
He's made a lot of people a lot of money, but man, that roster management.
Oh, it's not good.
But I guess. When you own the team, you can screw it up if you feel like it.
I hope he never sells that team because, nothing makes me happy. The only thing that makes me happier than my favorite team winning in any sport is seeing the Cowboys implode in the playoffs.
I do enjoy the Cowboys.
It's just great. And you probably feel even better about it being a Giants fan. It doesn't matter how good they do in the regular year. You just know they're going to be bad in the playoffs.
Exactly. I don't need to worry about them winning the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't need to worry about the Giants winning the Super Bowl either, but... somehow the Giants, what's wild, the Giants have 2 Super Bowl wins since the Cowboys have any.
It's wild. It's crazy.
They won't have any more any time in the near future, but.
That's probably what you guys said right before the last championship. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are usually pretty bad for 4 years beforehand, and then you just win, right?
No, they weren't terrible. They were skimming along. I mean, they were 9-7, 8-8 every year.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was the Eli Manning charm.
But I mean, 9-7, 8-8 is good everywhere else, but in the NFC East, is it that good?
Well,
you won a Super Bowl, so it's good enough.
I'm trying to remember back to the days when 9-7 was possible, Mike.
Yeah, it's true.
It was a long time ago.
Steelers won a Super Bowl on a 9-7 wild card year.
Yeah, the Giants' last Super Bowl was, I think that was 9-7. One of them,
a lot of wild card wins.
I think one of them they were 10-6, one they were 9-7.
We got to talk about another world champion. Going to stop in the NBA real quick, but tonight, everyone keep your eyes open. Klay Thompson is going to make his return to San Francisco to face off against Warriors.
He will get cheered.
He will get cheered. They're giving out little captain hats, boat captain hats, because that's what he likes to do, ride boats.
Oh.
And he's got his own captain hat.
Okay.
I wish I could go to the game just for that captain
Just to get a hat?
Yeah.
What do you think they'll be going for on eBay?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot more than what you have to pay if you're going to the game.
All right, so you're not going to buy...
Wait, that's a good question. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the market, see if any of them come up.
See if you can catch a dip in the Klay Thompson captain hat market.
What I'm curious is like, yeah, it's a free hat, but like it's not a free hat because you're paying like an Uber amount for the tickets.
Yeah.
So if the hat goes on sale for less than the tickets.
Yeah, what are the people valuing more, their hat or their experience?
Because then you're just admitting off rip that you're taking a loss. And I don't feel like that's a good business mentality, even if it's on eBay.
So, yeah, what percent? So you think a lot of people are at the game tonight to resell the hat for profit?
Maybe.
Okay.
He is a 4-time champion.
All right. I'm going to allow you to be the one that keeps tabs on this.
When Klay drops 45 tonight.
Oh, man.
Those things are going to go like hotcakes, Brian.
Yeah, you need a signed hat after that.
I would sign it.
Need a Klay Thompson signed hat after that.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Okay.
Did I ever tell you this story about? It's a great story time. So an ex-girlfriend of mine, probably like 6 years ago.
Where could this be going?
It was when Tyronn Lue was coaching the Cleveland year that they won. Actually, they came back and won in the finals.
Okay.
My ex-girlfriend happened to be on a flight with Tyronn Lue.
Okay.
And she sent me a picture of him, and he's in first class. Obviously, it's Tyronn Lue, but she's like 6 seats behind him. And I was like, "Yo, that's wild. You should like ask him for, an autograph for me." And she goes, "Oh, I didn't, but my cousin did, and she got one. But don't worry, we'll photocopy and give it to you."
So do you have a photocopied Ty Lue signature?
No. It was one of those moments where I couldn't be mad at her.
That could be an authentic photocopy, Mike.
That is true. It was a one of one.
Yeah, this is an authentic photocopied signature.
I couldn't be mad at her because it's like she tried, but come on, that is just stupid.
A photocopied. You could hang it on the wall.
That's like asking me if I want a picture of you and your favorite celebrity. Like, no, I don't want a picture of you.
I'm offended.
I would like who's your favorite celebrity? Off the top, go.
Not Daniel Jones. I don't know. I don't have a picture of me and a celebrity that I can think of.
You don't have to be in a picture with them. Who's your favorite celebrity?
I'm trying to think. I don't have. Who's my? I don't know. I
just got to pick one. First name you think of.
Tom Hanks.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, right. But I don't want a picture of just Tom Hanks.
I watched Captain Phillips a couple days ago. Really random. Sorry. Mine offhand, Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn?
We have the same birthday.
Okay.
And I really like his comedy style.
All right. But I still don't don't need a picture of any of them.
You mean, yeah, you could, though.
But why? What would I do with it?
That's on you, big guy.
That's why I don't need it. I'll just watch his movie.
Captain Phillips is really good. If you haven't watched it, I'd recommend watching it first time yesterday.
All right. Well, I'm the captain now, so we're going to break. We'll be right back after this with What's on Tap. That's Captain Phillips humor. We're back after this on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
I also watched The Irishman.
What about The Irishman?
Have you ever watched it? It's like 2019.
Yeah. Why did that? What does that have to do with Tom Hanks?
Doesn't.
Okay.
But I also
have watched The Irishman.
It's really good.
I liked it. It's just it's so long.
It is very long.
That it's not occurred to me to watch it a second time.
Okay, here's the only thing I got confused with The Irishman. I thought for like the first half of the movie that they were driving somewhere and he was having flashbacks. Because at parts he is having flashbacks of his life.
Because of the aging faces and all that? Yeah.
And but they never tell you it's a flashback. They never make it known. So you're just sitting there and you're like, oh, this isn't a flashback and I'm 75% through this scene and I should have been paying a lot more attention.
Like, I liked the movie, but...
Kobe.
But... you missed. But it's also not the best mob movie that basically anyone in the movie has ever been in.
Yeah,
basically everybody in the movie has been in a better movie of that genre.
I'll agree with that.
And Actually, I'd say almost everyone in the movie has been in multiple better movies of that genre.
Well, I mean, 90% of Robbie De Niro's movies are incredibly intense mob movies, and I will agree, this character was the least mob-ish character he's ever played.
Am I going to watch this movie again, or am I watching Closer?
That felt good.
Or am I watching one of the Godfathers again, or Goodfellas?
See, I've never watched Godfathers because...
Well, do that.
They're just really long.
They're shorter than that movie?
Are they?
Well, wasn't that movie like 4 hours long?
It felt like it.
Yeah, it was very long. I mean, I'm not saying The Godfathers are short movies, but they're two of the best movies ever made.
What are they streaming on?
I don't know. Somewhere, probably.
That's the only reason I haven't watched them, because I was on Netflix. You know, it's really ironic that you bring this up, because while I was watching The Irishman...
is The Godfather?
I just thought to myself, I bet you The Godfather is probably better than this. And then I thought, what is it streaming on? And then
it wasn't. Freaking Godfather. I bet The Godfather's...
I thought I was going to die last night. In the middle of the night, I woke up with so much phlegm in my throat that it was like in my mouth to down my throat, and I just couldn't get it up.
Okay.
Sorry, that was really random.
That's a really random left turn. Don't make me quote The Godfather at you.
Wait, is The Godfather the one with the deer head in the horse? Or the horse head in the bed?
Yeah.
Is that first one? Second one?
Yeah, first one, yeah. Yeah. Pretty early on.
Give me a by memory rundown of all the Godfathers in order, really quick, for the rest of this break. You got a minute and a half.
You want me to update you on the Godfathers?
Yep, the whole thing.
In chronological order or in movie order?
Chronological order.
Okay, so that would start in the Godfather 2 and the Robert De Niro parts, because he's young Vito Corleone, and then he's got to come over through Ellis Island, and then blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so he's an immigrant.
Yeah, there are a bunch of Italians in the early...
Well, I didn't know if he was an immigrant or if his family was.
Yes, he's an immigrant. He was sickly, and then he wasn't. And then, yada, 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 he's got to take over some crime area in the country. Then he steals... New York City! The 5 families of New York City! Then he steals a rug.
One for each borough?
Then he shoots a guy, and there's some fruit. And then, fast forward a little bit, because at the end of it, then the kids are born, and there's little Michael. And now we're in the next movie because they're going along, and then, he gets shot, then Sonny gets shot, then they're sleeping with the fishes. This is all spoiler alerts for you, Mike, because you haven't seen the movies. And then they're making the sauce. You got to learn how to make the sauce.
Like the spaghetti sauce.
Yes, the spaghetti sauce. But then they had to leave the gun but take the cannolis.
We went from spaghetti sauce to cannolis here.
There's a lot of food. It's Italian mob movies. There's a lot of food, Mike. Stay with me. Stay with me.
Which one's better, Godfather or Sopranos?
The Godfather.
Godfather, they're both TV shows, right?
What?
No, Godfathers are movies, Sopranos are TV shows.
They're both great. Watch them both.
I will.
All right.
Not at the same time, though, because I will get confused.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know which one is Rogue One and which one is Star Wars 6. They're both the same in my head.
I don't know. I've seen the first 6 Star Wars, and I haven't seen any since.
All I know is Rogue One is really, really good, but whenever I'm watching like either one of them, 6 or Rogue One, I get really confused. Or
right.
7.
You want me to pick up the Godfathers? We're midway through Godfather 1 now.
You got enough time.
All right.
I'll come back.
Godfather 3 is not as good. 1, 2, 5.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Oh, my goodness. If you're not with us on Q Sports Talk during the breaks, I don't even know how to describe what just happened. So I won't, but it involved, I'm partway through telling Mike the plots of all the Godfather movies, and I'm still not entirely certain why that happened. Now I kind of want to go watch The Godfather, but we don't have time for that. It's a long movie, and the basketball game starts in like a little bit more than an hour. We got a pregame show to do. Commitments, people. Commitments. Man, I don't even know where to go, so we'll go here.
Here's what's on tap tonight.
Have I told you that it is game day? It is game day. What's on tap brought to you by our friends at Labette USA. There is a basketball game tonight against a Colgate team that we don't really know a lot about compared to recent Colgate teams, other than their head coach is pretty good at head coaching in Matt Langle. Tip time just past 7. So we've been talking hoops and hoops and hoops. Guess what we're going to do over the course of the next hour? A pregame show. We're going to talk more about the basketball game. We'll bring you back, if you missed it from Orange Nation earlier today, Matt Langle gracious with his time on a game day, has joined Orange Nation now. And if the game goes awry tonight, I think we know where to start blaming it, because this is the 4th straight year that Matt Langle has joined Orange Nation day of game before this game. And we've seen how that's gone the last 3 years. So, yeah, there's a lot riding on that interview in this game tonight. But we'll play back some of that for you. Phone lines will be open throughout the pregame show at 315-437-7644. We'll refresh you. It's been more than a week. We'll look back on the opener against Lemoyne, dial up some of the red sound from after that game, all the stuff we normally do to get you ready for a basketball game. What's on tap tomorrow when we reconvene here? Post-game shows on tap in between all these things. Justin Allegri, the play-by-play voice of Cal football, will join us on the show. Obviously, all of our reactions to the game, and we'll see what other trouble we can get into tomorrow on this here program. So for all of you streaming, you might need to refresh the stream and get back to us in the next hour. Those on the radio, stick with us. We're not going anywhere. We're back right after this. We turn the page. Pregame show starts next.
The 3-1